In this video, we are going to be setting up ourselves to pretty much have the option to single click or double click for our interaction. So what I mean by that is when we walk up to the door, we single click it. It tries to open the door. When we try to double click, we bring up a menu to have options such as unlock or lock the door. This, I don't really see any other use for it other than using it for the door, unless something later on comes up. So this is pretty much what it's going to be primarily used for. Now, this is kind of simple, but at the same time, it's not super straightforward, which is why I'm making a, this is going to be a dedicated video for it. So you see here for interact, we do have an option, IE underscore double click. Well, this works as a double press, but that would leave us with the problem of not having something to single click. And if we have two interactions, one for the single press or the IE pressed and one for the IE double click, and they both call the same function, then it's, and we double click, it's just going to run three times. I mean, three times. We need to, we're pretty much going to be using a timer to go around this, if that makes sense. So I've actually done this in the past, which is, I figured I'd bring this example up before we actually start doing it, just so you can see what I mean. So I have two inputs for interact. One is just the normal pressed, one is the double clicked. But you will see here, for the normal single press, what we do is we start a timer with a 2 millisecond delay. Now, this is going to call our check double click function, which after that 0.2 seconds, or the, I think it's considered 2 milliseconds, I don't know. We check if a Boolean was toggled, and if it was false, meaning it was never toggled, then it means it was a single press, so we simply call our interact function. But if we double click like so, what we do is we toggle the Boolean, pretty much our control variable for the double clicking, from false to true, meaning we did double click. So this function is going to run because of this timer here, no matter what, even if we do double click, but it's going to be able to tell that did double click was true. So all we're going to do is set it to false, and we're not going to do anything else. But instead, we're going to call our interact function. So that hopefully that kind of makes some sense. I can leave it up for a reference. So we can go ahead and get started on it. I'm going to go ahead and copy this here and change it to IE underscore double click and open up our character's header, which is right here. Actually, I can close all this since we don't need it for now. And we're going to make our control Boolean. I'm going to do that right. I guess this will be a decent enough spot. Bool B, no, because this isn't going to be consistent. Double click. We're going to set it equal to false by default. Now we need to make some functions here. So where do we have our interact? Oh, that's right here. All right, so I'm going to do this right. Actually, I'm going to do this right above our interact function. Could call this one void double press or double interact, I guess would be an okay name. And I want one more for void check double interact. That should be about where we want them. Create our definitions for both these functions. Come on. Okay, so we're going to set our double click to call the double interact function. And we're going to make our normal interact call our check double interact function. Let's go ahead and minimize begin play since it's got a lot of crap in it. And here they are. All right, so our double interact is going to be our simple double press. So we called that one double clicked. We're going to set that to true. Then we're going to call interact. Now the check, actually I'm sorry I screwed up a little bit. Let's add another function, void single interact, and create its definition. Now this will start our timer. So get world is it get timer manager dot set timer. We need our timer handle. So I'm going to call this one f timer handle interact or double interact. Then it's refers to this. Then our function. So we're going to do our class, then check double interact. Then 0.2 for the delay and false for looping. That should be right. Now we're going to simply do our check. So if double clicked equals false, otherwise we're going to call interact. Now I want to change our interact function. I'm going to make it take in a parameter, call it was double click, and then pass in false there and true there. And let's go ahead and build. So what we're doing is when we double click, well, actually I can just pass, it doesn't matter. When we double press, we're going to call our interact function. We're going to pass in true, meaning we double clicked. Otherwise, we're going to pass in false, meaning it was just a single press. So this way we can dictate kind of specific events and stuff that we want to happen. Actually, I want to go ahead and make a log. And it'll be, all right, build one more time. And this should allow us to see if it worked or not. Oh, there's the traditional crash, of course. Right. Single press, double press. All right. For the double press, I think it's doing all three, so let's try to move it quick. Not quite sure if it's calling it twice or not. And I just realized I forgot to set the input to the other function. That would explain it. So our single press is going to be our single interact function. That would explain it. So now we should only have 1 or 0, not multiple being printed out. Single press, you can see it has that little bit of, well, probably can't see when I'm pressing, but the delay, and I'll double click. 1, 1, 1, 1, and single. So there, our double press and, well, single slash double press is working. And it's not really a huge delay. If anything, you can lower that to like 1.5 or something like that if you want to. But I think this is just overall a good balance. So let's explain what has been done. Starting off, we have our control variable. This dictates whether or not we actually did perform a double press. It's kind of like the key part of the logic behind all this. And when we single press, we call our single interact function. And when we double click our interact key, we call our double interact function. Now what these do, when we do our single press, we start a timer. And that timer calls our check double interact function. Now, what this does, it does our, like I said, that Boolean comparison, which is kind of like the key to all this. So if it was a double press dictated by our double click function, that toggles our control variable to true here, then we simply reset it back to false because it was not a single press and we do nothing else. However, if double clicked was false, meaning this function here never ran, then it means it was a single press, in which case this condition is false, so we're going to run our else and call our interact function passing in false. So when we double press, it's going to immediately, obviously toggle the variable, but it's going to call our interact function and pass in true. So this will dictate later on when we do our other stuff, we can test if it was a double or single press for the door menu. And well, we will be able to go from there in the future videos for our door lock. So I want to put this in the door section, I guess, as well, since I think this is the only thing we're going to actually use it for. So I will see you in the next one.